Hey, happy Saturday. Happy good afternoon where we are. Morning, evening, night, wherever you are. We are H&D Abroad. I'm Herman.
I am Dee. I am tired. I am exhausted. This has been
Yeah,
a week. Probably, it felt like probably a week and a half inside of 1 week, but we are committed to showing up and sharing. Um, we try at least twice a year, if not at least 2 times a year to do a Q&A. We love um, looking at your questions and your comments and constructing content that is helpful to you. But when we are when we are brave enough, we will throw out there a Q&A session.
absolutely.
We will not be answering questions today about where we're going, but you'll probably have gotten some cues because they are places. If you have watched our channel, go and look at our playlist. You can see there are a few places we have interviewed folk several times because those are places we either have residency, and that's been a confirmation that could be a place, but also that we have visited and have talked about with glowing reviews, Spain in particular. So we encourage you to see us as a resource. We go live specifically because this is your chance to have your questions answered live. Remember in the classroom when it was like, there's no question is a dumb question. I hate that word, but no question is a dumb question, but also that the question you have is probably on the minds of some other folks, and it would be helpful if you stepped forward to ask it. So wherever you are on your journey, whether it is I'm most comfortable or what I can do right now is travel, or I am in a position to make a move, and I want to talk to my partner, talk to our kids, navigate the why did you all decide to sell versus rent? If you have been with us a while, you know that was a back and forth until it was not. So I'm truly honored to have this conversation with my partner, with my bestie, Herman, and that hopefully today you can see yourself doing more of the things that bring you joy. So
If you are new to our channel, the reason we do these systematic, these quarterly maybe Q&As is because we've learned that the process constantly evolves.
Yes.
If you go back and watch us day one, watch our first couple of videos, you go, I don't hear them saying that no more. Or that doesn't sound the same, because we've learned so much in this process. So
we are not experts.
We are not trying to be experts.
We are not travel agents.
Yeah, and so we answer questions that are relevant to our current experience, what we have done, what we're currently working on, what our process is, because we think this process can be beneficial to other people who are going, what am I looking at? How do I do this? There's a lot of great information that comes from I'm over here, I'm settled, which, trust me, we utilize. But what's the process? So if that sounds good to you, we ask you to like this video. You don't have to watch it and then like it. You can like it now. We ask you to subscribe to our channel because we love everybody be a part of our ongoing growing community, which we learn from you. And hit the notification bell. We go live usually every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Sometimes there's adjustments, but we always let you know ahead of time. And we go live a couple of times during the week at 6 p.m. So if that notification bell is on, you won't miss us.
Absolutely.
So we start off with some shout outs. Greta's in the house.
Hey, Greta.
Good to see you, Greta. Hey, Michelle Lynn Thompson. Good to see you.
Oh, my bestie sister, Yolanda.
Hey, Yolanda.
Thanks for joining us a little bit later in Europe. Hello, Sabangale. Sabangale was just on our channel this past week for Black Women's Writers Week. We had 2 episodes of that. If you missed it, you definitely want to go back for the laughs, for the information, for the joy, because that's what we're all about.
Hey, Libra, good to see you. Muy bien. Hola. All right, I love when Greta's on.
Oh yes, Greta is not going. She's gonna hold our feet to the fire.
So if you're in here and we know and you're watching, let us know you're here so we can at least give you a shout out. Ask whatever. We'll tell you we can't answer it. We'll tell you we're not going to answer it. Either one, but you can drop a question. Let us know you're here though, so we can say, hey.
If you are a part of the replay gang, we come back and answer the questions you have as well, and give you kudos if you are also celebrating, because we want to celebrate in this during this time too. So Greta, okay, which one you want to start with?
Say hey to Maya.
Hi, Maya Spikes.
Oh, that's it. Sabanier is what I'm going to pronounce it. You tell me if I got it wrong.
Okay.
And hey, Dr.
O, welcome. All
right, so Greta has thrown out, do you have more than one residency in another country? Okay, so
I want to start with what is residency. So there's several. When you enter a country, you have to have a passport. Let's just start with that.
Yes.
You can't get a tourist visa, a residency visa, without having a valid passport that says I'm a citizen of a country and I qualify to leave and return. It documents, I guess, that I'm a good citizen. I don't know. You know, that's
questionable.
Yeah. But a residency means I can be in a country for as long as I want to be there. There are time limits on the tourist visa. If you have a U.S. passport, a Canadian passport, a passport of the UK, many countries in the world, you can be there with or without a visa on arrival, e-visa, for 90 days, 180 days at a time. Albania, we can do 360 days, but you need a residency visa to be there as long as you'd like. And so that's kind of, when we know that we like a place, then when I say we like a place, you know, it's meeting our non-negotiables, you know, like cost of living and walkability and, you know, the people, the political environment is stable. That moves us from I want to visit to maybe that's a place that I want to spend more time.
A residency is not a citizenship.
Correct.
Residency is I can abide here. You can live there. In some cases, depending on the kind of visa, you can do certain types of work there, depending on what they allow. But citizenship is I have all rights and privileges of the population that lives here. That includes voting. Residency does not include voting.
Correct.
And again, as Dee said, depending on the kind of visa that you have, can determine what leverage you have to do kinds of things, purchase land, work, go to school. So, you know, student visas, digital nomad visas, professional visas. Every country has its batch that it allows, and it has its, and every country has its rules for how that is governed. So if you are looking at residencies, you want to make sure that you are very carefully examining what those residencies allow you to do. You do not want to be caught out there in a time limit, you know, because you missed it or because you're tapping into resources that your visa doesn't allow. So the short answer, Greta, is no, we don't currently have more than one.
And you know that we are We're actually moving forward on
Correct.
one. There, the professional visa is available that we have looked at. I don't know if there are other countries, but Panama and Ecuador both have professional visas where you can qualify for the temporary visa. Has one of the subs is the professional visa, where you qualify based on your education level. So for Panama, it's a bachelor's degree. For Ecuador, at least in the past, it's been an associate's degree. So an associate's degree or higher. Some countries have restrictions on the professional visa, like they have protected professions. So sometimes, things like doctors, nurses are usually excluded, but education, some social service fields, there are a lot more than you may think. So we're moving forward with one professional visa that the first step with those is to have your transcript verified by the Ministry of Education, Department of Education for that country. So even before we do the residency and the other parts of we can take that first step without having to do those other things. So I think that is what we're able to move forward with right now. And
that would be our second visa. We currently have visas in Mexico, which I think I can say we're very proud to have. We have our 3-year. So we got our 1 year, and then we went back in 2023.
Yes.
And got our 3-year. So next year we will apply for our permanent visa in Mexico. We are also looking in some other areas. Colombia is high on our radar. We have discussed places in Europe and in Africa. So we are looking to have a fistful of visas, I like to say, because it provides us the opportunity to move a little more freely without having, and with a little more longevity in some places that we are interested in, that don't require us to move as frequently. If we decide we need to settle for 2 years, we can do that without much delay, much problem, but we can also move in and out. If things go sideways anywhere, we can get on a plane and head somewhere else.
Yeah, residency is also, I don't want to spend too much time because I see a lot of questions, but residency is the possible stepping stone if you're looking to get citizenship. Citizenship gives you an additional passport. And so for a lot of people, having an additional passport, I know some folks that are in the chat right now are able to qualify based on marriage. Folks are able to qualify based on, having a baby in a country. And because that baby is a citizen, being a parent gives them access to permanent residency or even citizenship based on the country. So what I hope that Greta is giving us the breadcrumbs to helping folks think about is, what is the move abroad solving for? What solution is it for me, for my family? And for some of us that are leveraging being abroad as an opportunity or option, just in case things kind of go sideways and I want to still move around the world, having being able to be in a place legally for as long as I want to is important. Or being on a path to a passport can also be important. So, yeah, good question.
Good question. How do you handle the pivot in the process? All right.
No, we have done at least 2 episodes on
we've recently,
pivot versus, not a perfect plan.
and please check that video out. I'll try to
Yeah.
add it. Remember to add it in the description afterwards. So I started off when we came on by saying that we've learned so much about, when we started, there were very strong lists about where we were exactly looking, how much money we needed to amass before we could leave, what kind of time frame we had to be in, what the kids were and were not going to do, what we were. I mean, there were a lot of pieces that we were building on. And I think that was appropriate. I think it's appropriate to have a beginning roadblock, which we'd probably say we've learned was a rough draft of, what the process looks like based on what we heard people saying, what we understood. And over time, especially in the interviews we've had with people who are all over the world, we've learned that there are resources sometimes resources are easier to acquire. In this process, things that were available when we started aren't available anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What was the one in Portugal? The golden visa, or
Mm-hmm.
that has expired in several countries that we, were on the consideration. I mean, things change constantly. I think where I want to start off with is first knowing what your why is. If you know why you're making a move abroad, what's a part of your process, what's your reasoning, what's your goal, what's your motivation, then some of the other things you learn to make the shift around. Sometimes that's harder than others. One of the things that I said in that video was, I think it was our mindset. How do I feel about this process? Especially when you're sharing this process with a partner, when you're sharing this with someone else, because those changes don't just affect you. They affect, if Danica is hardwired on Spain and I'm open to Spain and I don't have another option, and Spain is her thing. They got people who say, if it's not Spain, I'm not going. And Spain falls apart. It turns out that Spain is not the best option for us. Then how does she feel? And if we haven't discussed other options, if there are other possibilities on the table, then there's a level of disappointment that comes because you're bound around one thing, one focus. I think in short, what I'm saying is you got to be open-minded in this process. You got to be flexible, because when we applied for our Mexican visas, just in the time up to the process, just in the time of us preparing and then going to Mexico the first time in 2022,
Correct.
Things changed. The process was shifting.
What
was available, the time frames, and we had to go with the assurity of what we had, and then be prepared to deal with whatever was in place. And it prepared us when we went back the next year to renew, to be a little more, and that process, I think, went smoother because we were more prepared for, this may take more than the day everybody is saying. It took us a day, but that level of open-mindedness, in my mind, reduces some of the stress that comes from kind of being rigid about it.
Yeah, I think the points of pivot, when you ask about handling it, I think just from all the YouTube videos, the content creators that are out there, and our own experience, I think money, having an income that and a savings buffer, being budget minded, like having an idea of how to make sure that whether it's exchange rates that may change that could impact your money, or just making sure that you have sources of income that are coming and that you're not necessarily living on savings. Money is a huge pivot area that people talk about. There, some places are nice to visit that people are turning into places that they want to live. So being open to seeing a place for what it is and meeting your daily needs. I think being able to pivot from everybody is going there, maybe, but it might not be right for me. Maybe the taxes that I have to pay are high, even if I'm on, Social Security or some other kind of retirement benefit. I think realizing that folks get homesick. You may not want to live in the country that you're in, but where you have lived for most of your life is comfortable. It is familiar. It is. And so just recognizing I might need to build a step ladder to living 14 time zones away.
Correct.
I might want to start a little bit closer where I'm in the States for where I can get back to the States in 3 or 4 hours versus it taking a day and a half to come back. So I think some of the pivot is like the nuts and bolts of things, developing relationships on the ground that I've got to establish myself. I can't wall myself off. I have to get in touch with the community before I get there so that I have roots there, so that it doesn't mean I won't miss the place that I've been, but that I've made connections. And so I think for us, being able to make the pivot and saying my goal, especially on our side, our goal is to get out. My goal is peace. So it's become easier to make the pivots about what do we do with the house. When I said what would make peace, I don't want to have to worry. We live in a tornado prone area. Do I want to worry every time there's a storm? We have 2 tornado seasons. We have a spring and a fall tornado. I mean, who wants to be on pins and needles about what is happening with their home or the possibility of people destroying your home? So flexibility is both a mindset and also the things that you do to prepare emotionally, financially, socially, and just making sure that the most important things I'm either taking with me or that my new place has to help me have a soft landing.
I think this is a valid point. If you are running from something that you have not resolved, invariably in some factor, it will follow you there. Bringing some level of closure to the things you have going on here, moving into a new standard, setting up your habits and patterns here or where you are before you move abroad, then you're in the practice of doing them when you go. If you haven't, then, if you're a bad money manager, just because you're spending less money somewhere doesn't mean you're going to be a better money manager. No,
not because things may cost less.
Right.
If you spend more, then you're in the same predicament, and it's not solving the problem that you are transforming your life.
Yeah.
Upending your life for that place.
Nikki sharing, I'm gonna let you see it. What's
Whoa.
the huge pivot? Can't wait to hear about that.
Okay. I wonder if it was what we already shared.
So, hey, Nikki, want to also say hey to Lori Butler and Beijing Alpha 4.
Hey, Kimmy Apple.
And Kimmy Apple, Beijing. We coming just to see she and Yolanda.
100.
All right. So Sabangale asks, how did you get your U.S. background checks? How long did it take, and for how long is it good?
Okay, so get this. Every country does not require a background check. I didn't know that.
Correct.
I did not know that. The background checks, so they're for several of the countries that we are looking at, and I feel like this may be more of the standard. Mexico is its own thing, that you have to have a background checked that is apostilled from the FBI, where you have to go to the post office, the U.S. post office. And I'm hearing on something that I was just watching for Colombia, that they are not allowing you to have your fingerprints done outside the US. You have to have them done in the US. So one thing is, when you are watching videos around the background check and see how old the video is, because the standards are changing. So you need to go to a police station or a post office to have them do your fingerprints. And then that you can send that to the FBI. And the FBI background checks for most countries that we are considering is 90 days. The most of the apostille documents, so there is what the FBI will send you, and then you have to have it apostilled after that. So I say apostilled, y'all. Yeah. Don't hate me because I'm phonetically.
I've heard a couple of different ways.
So, but apostille is usually translated into Spanish, and some countries require that you use, what do you call that? They have been certified as official translators for that country. So this may be where having a facilitator. So I am a researcher, but I am not on the ground day to day with these departments that may change requirements within the time that I was reviewing them. We are used to things on the internet being 100% accurate. That doesn't always happen in other countries.
No.
So yes, I would look and see what background checks you need from the states. Usually it's both the FBI and for your state. If you have lived anywhere, and I'm going to use Ecuador because I'm preparing for a presentation this Wednesday. If you are in Exodus Summit ASAP, I will be talking about Ecuador in that group this week. But you have to have both the state and the federal apostilled, and they need to be within 90 days. And if you have lived outside the US or outside of your passport country within the 5 years, you have to also have a background check completed and submitted when you are submitting your residency application. So I expanded Sabangale's background check question because there are several levels to it based on the country. Do your Googles, do your Chat GPTs, find folk that are talking about getting residency, within the last 6 months. Let's see, we're in January. A lot of countries update their requirements for the new year. So definitely be paying attention to that. How long is it good? I said most of those are 90 days.
So you want to get it when you're making the move to providing that information. You want to check the time frames in which is necessary to have it, and then also because some require you to bring it in country and some so you in understanding the requirements, you need to know what that time frame is so that you can make, if you have to travel, you're doing it within that travel frame so that it is
Having a
relevant.
facilitator also makes sure that if you break the seal on the
Absolutely.
FBI thing, what would invalidate?
Sure.
I'm just saying, sometimes you pay for peace, and having a
And
facilitator sometimes pays for peace.
and
Mexico,
they're
maybe not so
yeah,
much, but
they're especially if you're doing it the first time, and their access to the people, not just the information, sometimes their rapport with those agencies that you have to deal with make that process go better.
oh,
So
yeah, they have helped to solve problems in real time. So some people, I was just reading about a young lady that was getting hers in Mazatlan. She was getting her Mexican residency in Mazatlan and had to come back the next day for her biometrics. She and several other ladies were in line together, had to all do it. Well, when she came back, the people said, we will send you your letter to come back the next day by email. And they didn't. She had because the facilitator had a relationship, had the knowledge of people to ask, she was able to get her email where the other folks weren't. I'm just saying it's you pay for peace. I am going to say hello to our mentors,
absolutely.
to the folks that said, we love you enough to be your first guest. Our Black Utopia. We are so
Rick. Good to see you
we're
guys.
so
And
honored
this is
to have you guys
and this
join
is
us
true.
today.
This is true. There are some things that you are running from and running to.
Yes.
At
the same time.
At the same time. Yes.
But I'm telling you, not just.
But understand what that is.
Exactly.
If you are just running, I think that can disadvantage you. That can turn worse than you want it to.
And when you're running away from something, where you're going, where you're running toward, needs to solve the issue, or you'll always be running.
If you're running from a bad relationship, but you haven't evaluated what it is about the relationship that's bad, you're going to run right to that person again in a different face.
Oh, goodness.
I'm just saying. So make sure that you understand what you're running from and what you're running to. That's my thought.
All right.
Big question from Greta, because Greta always hits hard.
Global health insurance options when traveling.
Oh, and I missed one.
So there's travel insurance, and then there is health insurance that may also be an expansion. It can, for those of us that are 50 plus, if you have not centered the health insurance aspect of your move abroad, I'd say move it up on your checklist. Having health insurance becomes a requirement, is becoming a requirement for a lot of countries, or is an established, because get this, we are looking at the privilege of moving abroad. The countries we are moving to do not want another headache. Don't want you to become their newest responsibility. Okay. Just like what happens in the States. We don't want folks taking, local jobs. We don't want to have to financially support people where our government is already trying to create solutions. Wink, wink. For healthcare and so that's why they have economic solvency requirements. It's why they have health insurance requirements. And I say that because of pre-existing conditions. Okay. Some countries consider some chronic diseases as uninsurable. So they will not allow you to have insurance. Okay. Some will you will pay a higher insurance rate. So this is where being in those WhatsApp groups for your country, in the Facebook groups in the country. People are sharing where they've been able to find these solutions. But if you can't immediately find a local health insurance, it might be why you might want to consider slow traveling till you can find a local health insurer, a broker that can help you find a qualifying insurance plan that the government recognizes. Okay. Everybody offering insurance may not be an entity that the government will accept. So this is another reason why having a facilitator could be helpful, where you're not having to try to figure it out. But we decided to go with Alliance for our travel insurance. So we knew we probably would be in some places if we were trying to figure it out for about, 3 months or so. That's fully within what we qualified for with Alliance. You can get a quote. Also, Alliance also has health insurance plans. They can provide you a quote based on, y'all, please be careful, be truthful, but be careful the information that you share. If you did not participate in Exodus Summit this past year, we had a great presentation from Okay, so she runs the Expat app. It is an app for Black travelers and Black and brown people moving abroad. But her presentation broke that down in ways I had never heard before. It gave me enough breadcrumbs to be able to say, this is how you do your due diligence. This is how you do your due diligence.
It's not a matter of dishonesty.
No.
What's necessary.
So things like, I was born with asthma. I've shared that on this channel before. Some places will not insure me. I've not had an asthma attack since I was 6. Okay. Some places will, so you need to find out what is available to you. Start that research early. And Rick and Halisi gave us another tidbit around health insurance. Do not end your U.S. health insurance without having something else, your coverage. So, I know this is going to hopefully save somebody some grief and some loss and some tears. Okay? Yes, Shar, that's right, Shar. She laid it down. Shar laid it down. They shared, make sure that you have documented, and your employer, if you have employer-based health insurance, if you have the marketplace, they will be able to provide so that they know that there is not a gap in your coverage. So make sure that you download, that you get that documentation before you leave, that you save it, that you scan it, create a folder, in a special Move Abroad email, whatever, for you to be able to keep up with that documentation, because the gap in care could also put you at risk for being, quote unquote, uninsurable.
Nikki is saying that her insurance in the States is maintaining her necessity. If you have great insurance, and it can
Cobra is expensive, but if you got a way to maintain it, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Miss Evelyn, good to see you.
Oh my.
Hey, Allie.
Y'all, we have godmothers everywhere. Miss Evelyn is my Panama City godmother.
Okay, so Greta says she set up her Wise account.
Yes.
Her card is on the way.
Yes.
What's our comparable? So we also set up our accounts.
Yes. I want to be able to get access to my money. I need to be able to pay rent. I need to be able to, if Yolanda's in here, folks, you got to consider how you're going to get your money, how fast or slow that process is. And look, I want to make a dollar holla, a dime holla. I don't want to have to pay, what do you call that? Unnecessary or debit fees or other transfer fees. So one, please find out how much you can, if you are thinking about bringing cash to deposit into a bank account that you get abroad, find out how much you can actually physically take with you. You do have to declare it. Okay. People want to make sure, the countries want to make sure you're not a mule moving cash for folk.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make sure that it is legitimate funds, that they're able to track it from a legitimate source. So if anybody has information about that, please drop it in the chat. But you may want to bring some funds with you. Setting up an account in country may take a cedula, may take another kind of, you may not be able to open a bank account without residency. Some countries allow you to open bank accounts with a tourist visa. Some locations, that's why you get in a group and find out. You ask the questions because people will share. But yeah, having a WISE card, I think, is important because you can use WISE. I'm trying to figure out where you can't.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, so getting your WISE card, you can get that before you leave the U.S. Apply for it. Mm-hmm. But also some other ways that we know to make sure you have access to your funds is Fidelity and Charles Schwab have money market accounts and accounts that also come with a debit card that refund ATM fees. Ooh, just make sure you know, is there a limit on the number of withdrawals I can make within a month? Do I have to keep a certain amount of money in this account? But yes, how you move money, the time frame that you can move money, and what if you need money in a hurry? Woo! So what do you call that? Western Union has saved a lot of folk. Please understand what you need to be able to Western Union yourself money. What you need to have set up, in an app or whatever, an account set up before you leave the U.S. Because sometimes when you're out of the country, these banks be funny. These banks be funny. Yeah. And so there was a credit union that we have, we have money in different places and spaces. And I couldn't get in my app when it was like, you are out of the country. I couldn't order my medicine because they were like, you're outside of the country. So
you want to have access on many levels.
Yeah.
We are examining banks that are available in several different countries, the same bank, because having access many different ways. If they decide they don't want to use your credit card, the bank
why
puts
is
you
it
out.
better, Nikki? Why is if you can share a point or two about why Dollar app is better, that would definitely be helpful because I'm going to be looking into it. But I know I wanted my ATM fees to be reimbursed.
Correct.
One thing so I was watching Queen of DC. She's been between Vietnam and some other places in Southeast Asia. She mentioned that she kind of took it for granted that they would always reimburse. I would hold on to my ATM receipt, mm-hmm. at least for 30 days until I saw that the charges were taken off, because she had an instant where whatever happened, it didn't, and she wasn't able. Usually it's just a few dollars, but if you are like me and, frugal, you may want to keep those receipts.
Yeah, when we travel.
Wow,
We hold all the receipts till we come home, and we check and make sure everything is in place.
That is great to try and keep Affordable Care Act. Ooh, you just want options. I have seen instances where people have had cancer diagnoses, a cancer diagnosis. They've had other health things that happen outside the US, and they want to come back so that their family members aren't going to leave and go to where they are. And they feel like they would get more support.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the same thing for Medicare. I'm not in that, but Medicare may also, you may want to see what requirements are there for you to keep up with Medicare so that you have health care options in case the options that are available to you in country. I'm also talking about this because Cartes mentioned when you keep your health insurance, it also usually gives you pharmacy benefit access. During the pandemonium, we saw medication shortages.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take something like blood pressure, diabetes, psychotropic medications, that's what Cartes was talking about, that he was like in Merida that we ran out. And he was just like, I was searching and searching and searching and searching. And he was like, I couldn't find it anywhere. It's why he talked about probably needing to have residency in some other places, because if I need to get access to my life-saving medication, I probably want to be able to go to be in a country where getting access to that medication is important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people will say, I can buy medicine with a tourist visa. There's a certain kinds of medicine that may require you to have a cedula. We ran into that with just my altitude sickness medications that my doctor prescribed when we were in Ecuador.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, I was like, you mean I can't present my passport? And they were like, no, we need a cedula number to be able to fill this prescription. So, and
luckily we had Stephen LaShawn with us that really helped out with that process.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. This is important. I'm going to, Samangale says here, it's starting to sound daunting. Mm-hmm. Remember that we are really dumping out a lot of information. I would recommend that you look at this, as we always say, like a process. If you move from one side of this country to the other side of this country, you're going to deal with a process change that is more than just I picked up and left. Clearly, it won't include visas but those are all pieces that are taken care of systematically. And when done in the process, it's an ongoing thing. And if you include just the people who are involved in this process, the people who join this chat, who have done this, who have these channels, there is so much information that makes this go a lot smoother. When we got our first visa, the first time, we watched like 6-8 different people, and we took, I'm being nice, and we took both times more information than we needed, because we felt better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. But we were able to do the renewal process alone without a facilitator, because we were able to weed through some of that process, especially when you get into the flow of it yourself. It is a process. Because every country is different, and in each country being different, they continue to grow and evolve in their process. And we are America, I think, in some of its policies, is making some of this process difficult around the world. But it can be done. And support, I believe, is one of the biggest aspects to making this move. forward for you in a reasonable way?
My fear is that a lot of folks think I just end my life and start my life somewhere else. Everywhere has pharmacies, everywhere has, health insurance. What we are sharing in this Q&A are some of the nuances that you may want to consider if it is important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if the most important things, our center is that we want to move in a sustainable way. Sustainability to us means I stay abroad until I am ready to come back, if that ever is a need or requirement. And so a lot of the things that we have taken the time to research and to get feedback from folks that have made the move is not to avoid every misstep, to consider every single thing that could go wrong or that isn't a match for us. But I can promise you, there are some places that I now know it ain't what you thought it was. And then what you thought it was really isn't a good match for you. Mm-hmm. Those are some things that I feel like help me, that we were talking about pivot earlier. If things shift and change, how do I have enough information? And it doesn't mean that you have a perfect plan. It just means that I know that this place can meet my top 5 needs. Mm-hmm. Okay. It can meet the top 5 things that are critical for me to feel happy, to support the quality of life that I desire.
So, Ms. Evelyn shared some good information.
Correct. NordVPN. I will put it in the chat. Correct. Yes, I got that on this trip. Thank you, Yolanda. Because I was just like NordVPN, but also like I can get my my flights were different. My Netflix access to content is different. There are a lot of benefits to being able to have the VPN, a good, strong VPN that allows you to protect your information. So if you are out of the country and you're in the airport, please do not check your accounts, move money, whatever, without some kind of VPN access. That is the begin. I can't remember what. Let's see. It's a virtual private network, y'all. I just tried to make that up, but yeah, you want to be able to make some things private. Your passwords. If you have not had your social media hacked and taken,
virtual private network. Very
okay,
good.
Okay,
very good.
Yeah, then you definitely want to make sure that you are protecting your information.
Yeah, don't begin to avoid, and this is speaking to me also, begin to avoid hooking up to every free Wi-Fi, especially when you're traveling, because you don't want to let that get you because you were over a wide system. And the way things are hacked, they just had the Walmart hack. My son just,
oh my God,
my son's bank account got hit. And the reason I found out, he said, somebody's gotten to my account. I took him down to the bank. He went inside while we were there. The guy sitting next to me said, oh yeah, did you hear about the Walmart thing? And I was like, no. He said, there was a data breach. He was like, I went into my account, I got $2. And they hit our youngest son for several $100s. And those little things, as those who can break into technology get more and more advanced, you want to continue to add layers of protection. And sometimes just the oh, well, there's Wi-Fi available here. Let me do this. Go to that one first, because that's the other part of her statement.
Okay.
Is protecting yourself. So something like a VPN, because you can use it on your phone, right?
Yes, your phone and all of your
sure
devices, and it's pretty reasonable. I mean, I only wanted it for a month. I wanted to try it out, so it was less than $20. It was like maybe $17. If once we leave, we'll be on a low monthly plan because we know that we're going to need it.
I will say this. She does more research than most. Okay.
I'm gonna know it.
And I am willing to share it. Because there's so much that we've been like, oh man, if we had just done what they said over here, we would have been caught out over there. And there are times when it's just been like that extra information has provided us an extra level of buffer or opened the door to extra resources.
And research sometimes gets you caught up. And that's what I think Dr. O is mentioning. So there is analysis of paralysis. When do you execute? I say you execute starting now. The move abroad process isn't about leaving. Like there's all the other things. If you want to, and we always suggest that you do, the thing that you think is going to take you the least amount of time is going to take you double the time.
Correct.
Okay. And that is clearing your belongings. Yeah. You can start today.
First, there's the stuff. Then there's the emotion. Then if you're sharing that stuff with someone else, there's the is this as important to you as it is to me? Is this not important to me? I mean, there's so many things to consider, even if you don't have a lot of things.
So the declutter, the get rid of, the giveaway, that is definitely so. Our plan looks like we are doing the things we can do today. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you are able to go to a country that does not require that you are in country to have the residency, go get that residency, because residencies that are available today with the economic solvency or the whatever the requirements that are available today. The friendly nations was how we thought we were going to go to Panama. During the pandemic, that process changed to a way that we're no longer willing to navigate. So now we're back to maybe Panama is somewhere that we visit and not live, because until we are eligible for the retirement visa, and if you don't know about the Panama retirement visa benefits, don't miss out. So Bangla is going to come back and tell us about her trip, because she is doing Charlotte Van Horen's the Black Expats in Panama tour. But yeah, I say you start executing your plan today. That the executing is doing things. What can I do today? Can I talk to my partner? I'm choosing to move with my partner. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to talk to my partner. If that is a part of executing my plan, getting rid of my things. If there are debt that you don't want to take with you, we always suggest that you prioritize getting rid of consumer debt. And there are some debts that you got to take with you. Sometimes you got to put that IRS on a payment plan, that state tax on a payment plan. You got to put that student loan on a payment plan. Find a way to defer. When I found out that NowCap is a way that I can defer that last thorn in my side student loan, in spite of paying off 6 figures over $120,000, I still got one left. You got to come with me. I done what I can do today. You got to come with me. I'm going to defer it until either I'm ready or I have another way to to cover those costs. Some debt comes with you. Please don't let credit card debt go with you. Please do not think that you can run from debt collectors. There are international networks of debt collectors. I'm just saying, if you don't want those folk in your pocket, we've had several debt conversations. There's a whole playlist on it, but we decided who was not going to be in our pocket when we left and who we were like, they'll be all right till we either can pay them off or do pay them off. And be selective, because if you owe a federal debt, child support, you may not be able to get your passport or get your passport renewed. I used to work for Treasury Offset, where we were taking folks federal funds, whatever those federal funds were, because as a part of the debt collection for state and federal debt. So they can get in the weeds with you. Be mindful of what debt that you owe, what can be charged off through, what can be charged off through bankruptcy and things like that.
When you're looking at this process, you want to see the big picture. But in seeing the big picture, you're not trying to look at it all at once.
Right.
You will overwhelm yourself. When we started this conversation, we started off talking about tiny homes and RV living, and downsizing was a part of that conversation. And we made moves toward downsizing in a space that would be a third, a fourth of what we were living in. And even in that, there's still so many things. And there are things that we were looking at this week. We were just like, okay, this is going to be hard to let go, but how do we carry this along? How do we transition this? She said to me, if we move to Spain, Europe, they don't have the plugs that you can plug your mixer in. Okay. I mean, that's not an argument point. That's a realization. And then, but you look at it in the pieces. Mm-hmm. What can I take care of today? Sometimes the today part is, what's the plan? What's the idea? Mm-hmm. If I were going to do this, what would I be looking at? And you have things on paper that you grow from. I want to move can sometimes be a much bigger statement than just, if I were to move, what would I need to do?
Yeah.
A, B, C, D. I got that. That's easy. These things are easy. I can do those things. Okay, here's the things that are hard. How do I go about the more difficult?
We should have a move abroad checklist.
We will.
Yeah. Oh, good question.
You always ask this question. Okay.
Yeah.
So
he is more consistent than I am.
I was. Okay. So, and
then also I found out what doesn't work for me.
I'm still working on that.
I am going through the different apps that you guys have suggested previously. And I think because we are closer to where we think we want to move, I've identified who the in-person, like face-to-face private classes. Mm-hmm. I feel like I want to start with a private class because I'm neurodivergent, and I want the ability to, I'll pay a little bit more so that I can have someone work with me in the way that works best for me and not necessarily in a group setting.
And I think that I'm moving towards that as well, because I need the accountability. I was doing Duolingo. I have been doing Duolingo. I kind of dropped off after we came back from our trip abroad. And a part of that is because I still don't feel I'm being challenged to Spanish. I'm being challenged in some Spanish things. I can look at the sentence and read it and tell you what it's saying. But when they give me the, they say the sentence in Spanish and then I need to translate it in English, it's the little words that just blow right by me. It's not even the big words. It's the little, the L, the esta, it's the little connecting words that throw me off. And that is about inconsistency for me. And I think that having someone to whom I engage, at least till I get to a point where I can individually say, hey, I'm sitting, sitting in front of the TV, watching in English, watching in Spanish, I have to have an accountability process for that.
Yeah.
Because I feel very confident working through the app. It's when I'm talking to somebody in country A, B, C, or D, and they're talking and I'm going, I heard about 2 of those words. I don't know what you said. If I heard any of it, I was listening to some people standing on the sidewalk the other day talking to each other. And I was just trying to figure out if I could catch a word. They might have just been going, because I heard nothing. And so I have to invest in the process in a way that is a lot more personal for me.
So I'm listening to more Spanish. I tried Pimsleur. I think I may have shared that before. And what I discovered is it goes slow enough, but it wants you to listen and repeat. And I was like, I need to see the word to understand it. And so sometimes you have to figure out platforms that meet your learning style. I am watching a YouTube channel. I'm going to see if I can find it while we are live. But this young lady she's so great. She talks about strategies and then pain points. I mean, if you're a content creator, that's what attracts folks to your channel. And so she's given approaches and one of the approaches that she suggested for someone like me is that I listen to Spanish, and that it's going to take time for me to be able to hear the nuances. So just listening is, I have a lesson where I just listen. And then the second stage of that lesson is listening, and then they will have the transcription at the same time. So these are simple stories, like children's stories. So base words, and it's getting my ear used to Spanish. So y'all know we're going to a Spanish-speaking country, because if I'm going to invest in a language as a 50+ person, then I want to go to countries where I can use that. So I am doing that. My treadmill is here. So I just put my headphones on for 15 minutes, and 10 to 15 minutes, and I listen to a story and then watch it. And then the next level is so listen without words. I'm paying attention to body language and other things that should give me cues. I'm listening and looking at the words. And then I believe the next level is for me to do something without. So, but yeah, I have to develop my ear, because I don't hear enough of the words. They're blending a lot of the words together, which also is a stumble.
And I agree with this. I mean, if I can understand what I'm hearing, I can craft a sentence to say. But if I don't understand what I'm hearing, it doesn't even give me a direction to go in. And so I'm working on my understanding, and yes, working on the news in slow Spanish.
Yes.
And yes, I'm accepting that it can take longer. Listen, I had it in 11th grade. I had it in 12th grade. I had it my senior year of college. And it's going to take a long time for me.
What I also know about me is, y'all have talked to me. This is why community is so important. You all have told me you get out there and you speak your baby Spanish, and you be proud of your baby Spanish. So I'm going to get out there with my infant level, toddler level Spanish.
Because I recognize that they
But
appreciate
that it is exactly, but that is that it will be real. I need it to be real. I need it to be relevant. I need it to be a part of my everyday life. And so I have lowered my expectations for when I leave, until when I leave. So right now I'm doing Spanish exposure. What?
That's deep.
Wow.
Took you a while to learn the language that you know.
Wow.
That's why we have English in school.
Well, and baby, don't get, I was about to say grammar and all that, but
most of us still didn't get it.
But and then y'all, I understand. I now have an additional motivation. So yes, I want it to help me in my daily life so I can go to the craft store. So I don't have to point and say, give me that yarn, or, do you have scissors or whatever. I am finding that my doula clients want someone that understands English and can speak Spanish. So
Motivation.
There is a bottom line. So I can get in, I can understand their healthcare system, how to work with the doctors and other things, but I'm not acting as a translator. Don't get me wrong. Okay. I will never operate in a medical setting for translation, but I think they will have confidence that together we can navigate a Spanish space as English speakers with growing Spanish skills. So now I'm really motivated because I've had three clients that I've helped them or encouraged them to find someone in country, because I was just like, my Spanish skills will never be at the capacity that it sounds like you need. And I don't want to lose any more clients.
So there's motivation. I'm going to answer this question for Sabangale because she's sitting in her car at the grocery store.
I know.
What about using a mail service to keep an American address?
Oh, there are so many strategies for that now.
There are people who have changed their residencies to various states that are income tax free. I am from Florida. My concern has just been with the level of the political party that runs Florida. They are doing a whole lot of back checking.
No, if we're going to establish residency, we will establish residency in the state. There's no deception there.
Yeah.
I think, let's see. So having a mail service, let's talk about why that's important. So if the IRS, if Social Security, if whoever needs to communicate with you, and a lot of those documents are time sensitive, you need to know that the IRS has given you 30 days. Your state is giving you 30 days. Your Social Security has given you 30 days to provide or sign or something. So keeping a mailing address, your bank needs you to have an address that is not just a mail stop. Right. So you want to look at and get some feedback in these expat communities about what how they're navigating that, because some things are changing. If you're just trying to have a place to receive mail, people are using family members. Okay. If you have a trusted partner, a trusted family member where you can have your mail forwarded to, then that is a blessing. For those of us where it would probably be our kids, they don't open their mail, they're not going to open my mail. Okay.
Yeah, I had to give them a basket and say, drop it in this basket.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, having a mail service is an inexpensive. So, mailboxes, et cetera, and some others will scan your documents. So, there, if you want, we can drop a few of those in a pinned post today, if you want to write that down. That we've heard that are, and then. Okay, so there's a couple that we watch. I know there are folk in here that watch them too. They have like 6 channels, but they went to like Minnesota and got a mailbox. I will also link their video in the. You're writing. Oh, okay. That's okay. I thought it was the other thing because I saw A. But yeah, so there are benefits that you can leverage from your address if you want to set up, and it's called domicile. If you want to domicile in a state that has no state tax. So you must file, but federal taxes, but they don't have any state taxes. And there's a whole list of them. The state we live in does not. So we'll have to domicile possibly in Florida in a space. So yeah, Texas. Yes, Texas, Tennessee, Florida. Don't let my brain give you erroneous information.
I had a few in my head and I was like, let me not start shouting them out. Yeah. All right. How is learning about investing coming along?
Woo! 100%. So we started with Beyond the Bling with Rick and Halisi. So thank you. I learned a lot of, there were some things I was doing great and there's a learning curve. I've joined From Lack to Legacy for that continued education. Sandra is a financial educator. She does not provide financial advice, but it is a learning community. Sabangale, We Don't Retire, We Ascend, is a part of that community. And so we get together twice a month to go over basic terms. We are talking about how to research, what are ETFs, what are lower risk ways to hedge my money against inflation at a minimum, or to increase the money that I have that is for a part of my retirement savings, or things like options trading and some other things that can provide some additional revenue. Some great ways to continue to grow our investment portfolio. So yeah, there. And then learning about investing. If you are not watching The Wealth Twins, you are missing out. They are a great YouTube channel. They are twin sisters, as you can guess from the title. But they have great information, and they put out videos a couple of times a week. This week, they were talking about the Charles Schwab account. So that's why it was top of mind for me, especially around the benefits for the cash management system. But not only does it help me to be able to use funds outside the country and have my debit ATM fees reimbursed, but it's also the place where if I want to fund my investments, then that's when I deposit those funds, that cash management account can help me make those investment purchases.
That information has been really good as I'm learning. There's some, you can just do this, but where I think I will probably solicit some services to have someone do some one-on-one consultation with me, because I think there's some key points. There's some basic things that I think I understand, But I think there's some underlying things that I think require more of a let me ask this question kind of process. It falls in that, I don't know, maybe I should say it feels like at times it falls into that risk factor kind of thing. Where's my money going to go? I don't make a lot of money the same way, because I'm not a regular employee. But once you begin a habit and the process, you can make it work, because what's important for me is the long game, and that's having resources available for my family down the road.
If you have some folks that you also watch, so Our Black Utopia talks about finances, Our Rich Journey. Oh my gosh. During the pandemonium, I was like screenshots.
True.
They also have a learning community as well. I think finding folks that are, the reason why Sandra works for me is she's a teacher by training. She was a teacher for over 25 years, and her style is very teacher oriented, where she's open to questions, where she is challenging you to, so like we had quizzes, like to kind of test what you know as we are learning along the way, and then allowing discussion. So she's a really good facilitator. I think there are folks that make money through investment that offer these courses that I don't think are teachers. And the most important thing that I have learned is it's my money. It is in my best interest to manage it, and that I can get, what do you call that? Consultation support. I can have someone review my portfolio and tell me areas where I could afford to take more risk, or where I can diversify. If you are not diversified in your portfolio, ETFs is a great way to do that, because you're purchasing small pieces, and that made me feel a little bit more confident. But y'all, not investing, not setting aside, not getting that company match, just the basic match, and using target date funds, if that is how you can enter, we all know that's not necessarily the best way. But when I knew what I knew, I did what I knew. And then as I have grown, I've known how to do it better. And then, y'all, those of us that are 50 plus, we've got access to those catch-up funds that you can contribute to a Roth IRA. Those are the things that you find out in a learning community. And I'm moving, with us moving abroad and possibly not having employer-based investment opportunities, we know now that we can, Rick and Elise introduced us to SEP, SEP. I can't remember what it stands for, but it's for self-employed folks, where you can contribute to, a retirement fund. It is a retirement fund for entrepreneurs. So, investments should solve problems. You should have continuous questions, being in community, watching good videos that help you to and expose you to valid learning, and that investment is a slow approach to growing my money. I'm not looking for get rich quick. And so, yeah, I think these are great questions. Y'all don't have nobody y'all are watching for investing. Thank you, Greta, for saying Wealth Twins.
So I'm glad I said the
Inside of Trading Facebook group. Okay.
I'm hitting join now.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Oh, Samirith, that's been on our channel before, Black Women Build Wealth. She has a Facebook group where you can, share your wins, ask your questions, but that is a great supportive community as well. And then she offers a conference once a year in the fall. I think it's late October, early November, when she has her conference that is specifically for Black women. So all of her speakers are Black women. I love it. And I'm really honored to be a part of her learning space as well. Girl, okay, Greta. Okay, so I know that Fidelity and Vanguard and Charles Schwab, but the education classes from Fidelity are second to none. The reason why my employer uses Fidelity for our retirement. And I've just been floored by, I can call and ask the same question 20 times and they got to answer it because they've got excellent customer service. They have excellent classes where you can type in your question and they will answer it, no matter if you are a beginner or you're advanced. And then if you want to get into some other areas, they do a weekly marketplace report. They talk about how to use the tools that are available to you to do your technical analysis. You are in the investment community, use those free resources. They have archived presentations and they have live ones. I'm using them all. Yes, Brown Girls Invest Too. Oh, y'all, forgive me. Dee's Community, Brown Girls Invest Too, 100%. We've had her on our channel last January talking, so you can hear, if you are looking for folk. We've had Sandra on before. She's done the 1,000 Black Women brokerage fund. She started that again this year. She talked about that on our channel. Dee has been on our channel before, during our financial focus month, which is usually January. So Money Coach Malika, y'all are out me. These are my sisters. These are my Exodus Summit sisters. Malika is living her best life, and she's also a great teacher. Her channel is excellent. She also has a paid learning community as well. So there are, I wish I had come up with this list, but yeah, if you are, there's several guys that I watch too.
There's a guy that I follow. I can't remember what his name was.
So yeah, if y'all don't remember who your folk are, come back to the chat. We'll have some more of those listed if those are important to you. We're always trying to hedge our bets that will at least stay in pace, if not try to outpace inflation. Because $10 under your mattress today is probably going to be worth $9 later this year, next year. And so that is why. Yeah. Who was that we were watching that said they kept their NBA money under the mattress? Kevin Garnett. Yeah. Oh my gosh. He was like, I didn't trust banks. And so I kept my money under the mattress, and the girls he was dating, he said, leave IOUs. Cautionary tale, people. Cautionary tale.
Yeah. Man, this has been a great conversation with you.
Thank you, guys. I don't see any more questions in the chat. We thank you guys so much for joining and asking great questions today. There is a place in this world for all of us. Your race, your time, your process, your time. Move forward with what you know, and you can tweak your decisions with the more you know.
Thank you for always allowing us to share where we are in this process and for your support in this process. We are digging in. When we hang up with you today, like, this phone call, when we hang up with you today, I'm going back to do some more decluttering. Because wherever we are in this process, we continue to try to move it forward. And you all, we share these because you all help keep us accountable. You all ask us the question to make us answer stuff that we have to have answers for. And we definitely appreciate that.
The other channel we watch is the Grounded Life Retirement Travel.
Okay.
Yes. So they talk about traveling on a budget. They also have other channels about living on a cruise ship. Yeah, like I said.
And if I can find out what that gentleman's name is, it's right on the edge of my tongue. I'll add it into the description as well. Decluttering is a beast.
Start, restart, start again. Get in community with people decluttering.
I took apart 5 boxes of books, kids' books. And 2 of them are repacked and ready to go, and the rest of them are sitting out there in the garage on the floor in stacks. So we'll go through that today and pack the rest of that away. Once you're doing it, it's just doing it.
Absolutely.
There are parts of it that are harder. I mean, I have some things I really am not sure. I have figurines and music boxes and things that I've had since I was 3. I haven't been 3 in a long time. But those things were things that, my folks brought back from their travels. And so from Amsterdam and, things from my early years in Florida, so those things are important to me. And I have to make some decisions.
Yep.
Am I going to pack them away and, move them along as memories of my youth? Or do I just say it was nice while I had it? Yes, there is an emotional piece to the stuff. I think Nikki said that earlier. But it's a part of the process. The hardest part for me actually is all my Pampered Chef stoneware, bakeware. That's the hard part for me. I can narrow down to my 2 cast iron skillets. I can give away all the spatulas and forks, but my stone bakeware, and that's just being open and honest about it. But it's a work through.
Yep.
We are saving money. We are building money. We are conversating. We are learning about each other. This is a relationship thing. This is a money thing. This is a time thing. We are constantly in conversation about a lot of pieces, and we are learning about ourselves individually and as a couple. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for these. She got something good she found. Oh yeah. Put that in there. That dude is Holy Schmidt. Yes, I said Schmidt. Yeah, that dude that's some solid information. He's worth watching.
Yes.
He's got dry humor to a science, but he's got financial education on lock.
Ooh, yeah. This most recent conversation was about, did you know, everybody knows about, 62 when you can file, but do you know what you can do at 59 and a half? And I did, but it's increased my motivation to be prepared for when 59 and a half comes. I know how to take action and what is available to me. So I'm telling y'all, there's 55, there's 59 and a half, there's 62. If you don't know.
Smart money, bro. Mm-hmm. I watch him. I'm reaching out to him.
Yeah.
He's
a little controversial to me. But
is that right?
Yeah.
I like it. It's just straightforward. I mean, and sometimes I think that controversy is necessary in creating a conversation. But yeah, I've watched him before too, in terms of receiving information.
Yep.
Okay. We gone.
Signing off for now. We'll see y'all next time. If you please remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell. We're live
watching in the
couple
future,
of times.
Hit us in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you all.
Bye for now.